So this year there are 6 jobs. You have the Falcons job, the Jaguars job, the Jets job, the Chargers job, the Lions and Texans. All of these are really fascinating, and some of them are in different directions. So I just wanted to ask you guys, Andrew, I'll start with you. Which of these jobs stands out to you as the most attractive, which maybe had some pause?
Yeah, I mean, this week is always, you got Black Monday, you got the playoffs. It's always a very fun week. And I feel like you look at these jobs and you have a lot of intriguing ones. I mean, you have both the top 2 picks. You're going to have new coaches there. But the one I'm looking at is the Chargers job. I think that's the one that I'm looking at if I was a head coaching candidate, because you got Herbert. You have a good offense already. I think that offense is really solid. And I feel like they're a team that just couldn't finish games. And maybe it's a little of a culture thing. Maybe it's just kind of in-game coaching and how that's handled. But I mean, they're only out of the playoffs 2 years as well. They made it back in 2018. They won a playoff game in 2018, beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in his first playoff game. So I feel like this team is right on the doorstep. I think they kind of just needed a new kind of direction. Anthony Lynn just late in games. I just don't know what happened. I mean, and also it's bad luck too. Like, they played the Saints earlier this season and they lost because of a missed field goal to win the game. And I mean, those are the things that kind of just happened. But like, over, you look at 2 years, 3 years, those games even out and you start winning them. And I feel like that's going to happen, I think, with the Chargers, especially with a new head coach. And I do think that's definitely the most intriguing job right now.
Yeah, if I got to pick, I'm going to pick 2 here. I would go Chargers, absolutely. I think Justin Herbert is going to be a top, I mean, I don't want to pick a number, but he will be a top quarterback in this league come time. And then the other one I'm looking at, of course, is Jacksonville. You're basically guaranteed Trevor Lawrence is going there. I don't think that's going to surprise anyone on draft day. Brand new quarterback, rookie quarterback, brand new coach, pair them together at the same time, see if any magic can happen. I think it's that simple. And then I guess I'll throw in one more that I think is a lot of people may disagree with, but I kind of like the Atlanta opening. And here's why. They were 4-12 this year. I don't think they're that bad of a football team to be 4-12. I do think, however, their opportunity to progress even or play well, compete, is limited to a year or 2 from now. Matt Ryan is not old, but he's definitely not his Super Bowl season self. Julio Jones getting older. They still have weapons, though, outside of that. Calvin Ridley. The defense is all right. It hasn't been great, but I just think that team is so much better. They also got out to a terrible start. I think they were 0-5, maybe even 0-6. I think there's hope that they can come back next season. At the same time, I think since the Super Bowl loss, they've just been completely demoralized as a team. But now that Dan Quinn is gone, maybe a new coach can bring some new direction to that football team. That's a hope that I have for Atlanta.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not an NFL head coach, if you guys couldn't tell. But if I was, I think one thing that I would look for is flexibility, right? So am I going somewhere where I can turn around the franchise? Do I have the assets to make it my team? And if you look at that, Chargers, obviously you spoke to, you have cap space, you have your quarterback for the future. So I won't go into them. But then you have Jacksonville and the Jets. So I'll start with the Jags. You have the number 1 pick this year. You have 4 picks in the top 2 rounds. So whoever goes there is going to get his choice at any of these quarterbacks in the draft. Probably Trevor Lawrence, but we'll see. It's being reported actually that Urban Meyer is their number 1 candidate, Ryan Day too. So if one of those take the job, that's another discussion, because who knows where they go with number 1, having recruited Justin Fields and knowing these guys so well from their days in college. But back to the Jags, they have 4 picks in the top 2 rounds, and they have $81 million in cap space. So you're basically giving the head coach of that team a blank slate and saying, you build this football team up. You have the picks. You have the cap space. Now, the one area that is a pause for concern is their owner this week. Khan, he came out with some comments where if I was an head coach, I'd be a little discouraged, because he said he wants to take more of a hands-on approach with operations. I think that's always a bad mix when you add, an NFL owner doesn't have the background that these GMs have. They haven't scouted like them. So that's something that would pause for concern a little bit with me. But at the end of the day, if a guy's able to go there knowing what he's able to do, I think that'd be a really good job. And the other one, I had to talk about my Jets. Okay. So the Jets, they're right behind Jacksonville with cap space and $73 million. And they have 4 first-rounders over the next 2 years. So I talked about that flexibility. You have the draft capital to get your guys in there. You have the number 2 pick this year, so you'll have a choice at an elite quarterback, hopefully in Justin Fields. Zach Wilson, you'll get the flexibility to make that choice. And there also is a good amount of young talent on this team. You know, I'm watching this team closely. Their defensive line, their interior linemen are set with Quinn Williams and John Franklin Myers. Those guys were clogging the run all year. And you have some guys on offense. You know, Mekhi Becton was a monster this year at left tackle. You have some wide receivers in Crowder and Mims. But I think also, you know, the lure of New York, right? So you're going to get to coach in New York, an awesome city. You're going to have a great fan base, you know, I'll say right there as a biased Jets fan. So I think those are some jobs that are really attractive. Nick, honestly, I'm surprised that you said the Falcons was an attractive job for you, because right now they're $24 million over the cap. And with Matt Ryan, as you talked about, you know, he's 35. He's just going to get older. We've probably seen the best of him. It's in the rearview mirror. So that's not a job that would entice me the way some other ones do, but certainly interesting. We'll flip it on the other side with you, Andrew. Which of these jobs do you think would be the most concern to, you know, to take? Which are you not liking as of right now?
I mean, there are a few. I mean, I feel like to me, I mean, Nick, you said Atlanta's a good one. I could see them being a little concerning. I mean, I feel like though they do have the quarterback and they do have a lot of weapons. So to me, that's not the most concerning. I mean, really right now, the Lions one is an interesting one because you have Matt Stafford, but I mean, they've tried with Matt Stafford for like 11 years now, and it's almost like it may be time to trade him. And look, they haven't done much with him, and I feel like that's not even Stafford's fault because I think he's really talented, but they just haven't been able to put anything around him. And I feel like that's not really going to stop. So you probably will have to end up trading him, or something's going to have to happen there. And that's something you're really building from scratch. And it's probably going to take a big rebuild. And you don't have the top pick to pick the choice of your quarterback. So that one would concern me. And then the Texans one, even though you have your QB, I mean, they gave up so much assets. I mean, besides the QB, they're in from some tough luck right now. JJ Watt, you're probably going to have to trade him. So maybe you can gain some assets back. You won't have his big contract. But that's something, those two jobs are just, they're ones that, I mean, look, any NFL job for any NFL coach, I bet they're going to want, especially you look at coordinators. But I feel like those are ones that are definitely, you know, less enticing.
Yeah, I see no direction with Detroit whatsoever.
Exactly.
So that's really where I'm looking at it. I did say my Falcons one was controversial. I could easily say that's a horrible job to land as well. Houston is weird for me because, again, they've got certain guys who are franchise cornerstones. Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt is a questionable one now because he is getting older and has gotten hurt a lot recently. I wouldn't necessarily say I'd steer clear from it because Watson is still young. You want to make something out of that guy's career. And the Texans were not a bad football team just a couple of years ago. They were very good, in fact. So maybe you could try and turn something around there. But at the same time, maybe this year wasn't necessarily a hoax and they are that bad. So I would say lean away from there as well. I got those two spots, Houston and Detroit, as my just no-goes as a coach.
Yeah, so every year usually in the NFL, we see at least one, usually two first-year head coaches kind of surprise a lot of people, make the playoffs, right? This year you had the Browns and you had the football team with Ron Rivera. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these teams makes that jump because I don't know if any of them necessarily are ready to win right now, the way their teams are constructed. Maybe I'd argue the Chargers.
Maybe the Chargers.
How well Justin Herbert just played. But it is going to be interesting to see, you know, who goes where, which head coaches. There's always one out of the box hire that no one sees coming. So we'll see who that is.